I got lucky. I'm a fraud and everyone will find out soon. I don't belong here. Sound familiar? Yes, we all have feelings of doubt and unworthiness at some point or other. But when all you've achieved are a result of your knowledge, hard work and preparation, and yet you still feel inadequate, you have a massive dose of imposter syndrome. Putting on a persona of someone you are not, in your head anyway. But today I'm uncovering how imposter syndrome is impacting your life and stifling your business. And I've got some great tips to get you moving from not believing things are possible for you to having complete faith. But before I go on, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe too. Now, you probably know me as a visibility and media coach, but what you may not know is that I'm a life coach too, a qualified and accredited one at that, and tackling mindset struggles is one of my most favourite things to do. I know two things. One is how much they can hold us back, both in business and life, and two, how, by getting those gremlins out of your head, you can become more and achieve more. This is why I enjoy dealing with the mind. Getting it back under control, or in control at all, can make all the difference to your future success. Now, I know quite a bit about imposter syndrome because it's something I've dealt with too, and still do every now and then. We can all fall back into the trap of some of our older habits. But for me, the biggest dose came when I switched careers. I was working in the National Health Service, doing all sorts of stuff, quite senior level. And then, due to differing circumstances, I decided to have a career change. And I decided very quickly, and it happened very quickly. And I went from working in the NHS to being a journalist. And that was a big deal for me. Who was I to think I could be a journalist? I got no training. I wasn't a creative writer. I could write, but mostly reports and government documents and things, but not creatively like I knew I would have to as a journalist. So I had to really have a serious talk with myself. On the day that I started my job as a journalist, I was petrified. I just thought it's only going to be a matter of hours, and then somebody's going to clock the fact that I didn't know what I was doing and I'd be out the door. But that didn't happen. I managed to get myself under control and remember all the amazing things I'd done in my career in the National Health Service, calm myself down and just decide that this was my new career and it was going to have to work because I wanted it to work. And I tried some of the things that I'm going to talk about here and various other things to help me with imposter syndrome, and I moved through it. It raised its head again when I went from being a journalist and a publisher and an editor-in-chief to being self-employed. Similar sorts of things, who am I to think I can run a business? What do I know that others are going to want to hear? And around we went again. And that's how imposter syndrome is. Can you ever get rid of it? I actually don't know. I think sometimes with these mindset things, they're in there and you can squash them and you can get rid of them for a while, but then something happens that brings them up again. So I don't know whether you can get rid of it permanently, but there are definitely things you can do that can take it away for some time until it raises its head again when perhaps your circumstances are changing. So that's what I'm going to discuss here about imposter syndrome and how it affects us, and then I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can help yourself with this syndrome. So to get going, let's take a look at how imposter syndrome might be affecting your business growth. As business owners, we want to attract clients we love, and that means getting visible with them both on and offline. Really visible. Now, these are the things we usually think about when thinking about visibility. It's things like creating a stunning logo and beautiful website, adding content to our blogs, sharing things on social media, and networking with people at events and online forums. Now, that is marketing. But it takes courage to be seen, properly seen as who you are. And just like when we were kids trying to avoid doing our homework, we'll set out doing a ton of stuff that doesn't do anything for our visibility, rather than focus on what will. So, do you find yourself checking your insights and your follower numbers and your subscribers more than you need to? Are you reading posts that promise to give us the secret to amazing success? Maybe you're joining challenge after challenge and every masterclass you can find. Perhaps you're checking out the competition and comparing yourself to them. Maybe you're getting overwhelmed and turning off. Yep, that's you holding yourself back from the visibility and success you deserve. But ask yourself, if you could overcome this limiting belief, how would that change things for you? So, for instance, would you be hosting a workshop, leading a Facebook group, collaborating with influencers, starting a blog, podcast, or YouTube channel? Yep, I thought so. But these are for later, right? When you have a moment? Well, no, that's not true, and imposter syndrome is a limiting belief that cripples so many entrepreneurs. Believe me, you are more than capable of running and growing your business. So what does imposter syndrome look like for you? Do you recognise any of these? You feel like everyone else knows more than you do. You feel like if you put yourself out there any more than you are now, you'll be exposed as that fraud that you are. You attribute any success you have to luck, that somehow you fool people into believing you're more capable, talented and/or intelligent than you really are. You spend every day just waiting to be told your work isn't good enough. You can't internalise how good you are, you just don't believe it, and you think everyone else's view of you is inflated. In fact, the very fact that you're doing what you do means it can't be that hard. You're literally hiding away. Now, you can't possibly allow yourself to have success while you know what you know about yourself. You'll leave all this success to others, your competitors really, which isn't great, is it? Now, you usually inflate the picture of what others are like and fail to see how flawed everyone else is too. We can only see everyone else from the outside and only see ourselves from the inside. So we are well aware of our own insecurities, anxieties and stress. Yet we only know about others what they choose to tell us, and that's really important. In the business world, we can pretty much believe anything that anybody tells us before we believe ourselves. So it feels like we are on our own at the far end of the spectrum of no good, while everyone else is having fun at the other end. We just can't imagine that others can just be like us. It's a leap of faith for you to admit that other people's minds work just like ours do. Don't fret, we are all the same really. It's pretty much a guarantee that all entrepreneurs suffer with imposter syndrome at some point. I find that it's usually when they're levelling up or trying something new, but everybody starts somewhere. Now, as a visibility coach, I'm really interested in what happens to people with imposter syndrome when it comes to being visible. So how is it affecting your visibility? It's probably some of the following. You may feel uncomfortable with self-promotion. You may feel anxiety about sharing your views or work. You avoid any situation where you may be found out, like a networking event, for instance. And you're probably reluctant to sell. You don't believe your things are good enough to sell. Now, the thing about imposter syndrome is it often leads to procrastination as well. We're scared to put ourselves out there. We don't want people to find out that we're useless, even though we're not. So we avoid doing things. We procrastinate and we'll do anything other than what we need to be doing. Now, I've got a video that's going to help you with procrastinating. And it tells you what sort of procrastinator you probably are, and also gives you tips and tricks to help you with that, depending on what sort of mindset you've got. I'll link it in the description box below for you. And then the thing that bothers me a lot about imposter syndrome is that I know that many business owners, in fact nearly all business owners that I speak to, don't want to put themselves out there into the media because they're scared that they're going to be uncovered as a fraud. But of course, as a visibility and media coach, I know how powerful the media is for business owners and how much it can do for your success. So it upsets me that people feel like that, and I'm on a mission to help with that too. Now, conquering imposter syndrome is a process. It all starts with being aware when it's holding you back. That's probably your signal that it's the very thing you need to get over so you can be more visible and therefore more successful. You need and want to succeed, so why give up on your dreams right now? You need to learn how to deal with imposter syndrome instead. You are your own worst enemy. You really are, just like the rest of us at times. Now we know what imposter syndrome is and how it's affecting your life in your business. I have a few things that I think might help you, a few tips for you. First off, break the silence. When people spend their life thinking they are a fraud, they are unlikely to talk about their feelings. Take solace in knowing that this is imposter syndrome and that you are not alone. This can be really powerful. So talk to someone, tell them how you're feeling, find a mentor or a coach or just a friend and let them know how you're feeling and how it's holding you back. Then I want you to separate feeling from fact. For instance, just because you feel stupid doesn't mean that you are. We all say and do stupid things from time to time. That's just life. Then develop a new response to failure and mistakes. If you do fail at something, simply take the learning from it and move on. Don't beat yourself up, you're only human after all. Fail fast and don't look back. Then think about reprogramming your mind. If you feel like you should always know the answer or that asking for help is wimpish, give yourself a good talking to. You have every right to be wrong about something. After all, we're not walking encyclopedias or robots, and everyone needs help. We wouldn't be human if we didn't enjoy a bit of support. So go out there and find some. Now I love this next tip, and it's reward yourself. Give yourself many pats on the back for everything you achieve, big or small. Recognise you are doing a great job. And then comes fly by the seat of your pants and learn to enjoy it. All the most successful people wing it at some time or other. Some more often than not. Their difference is they view it as a skill. Build your confidence and courage by putting yourself out there. It's a mistake to wait until you feel totally confident, because you could be waiting a while. Instead, let your confidence grow from taking a few risks. Now the next one I think is really powerful, and that is to pull success towards you. So when you need to do a task that's scaring the pants of you, visualise making a success of it beforehand. That big presentation or walking into a full networking meeting, for instance, just picture in your head how successful that's going to be, how you're going to make a real impact. That's much better than picturing a disaster and less stressful. And if you picture a disaster, that's possibly what you will get. Another good tip is to take the focus off yourself. Instead, think about the people you can help. You only need to be one step ahead of them. You don't have to wait until you're the leading expert in your industry to get out there and do your stuff. Your clients or potential clients need you to show up. They need to hear from you. What they really don't need is for you to be perfect or a guru. Just be yourself. Get out there and help these people that need you. But then you need to recognise when your ego is getting in the way. Our ego always means well and is trying to protect us, but be aware of the stories you tell yourself, as they are not always true. If you're thinking, who am I to be doing this? There are so many people doing it better. That's your ego tricking you. You are enough, and it's time to get more visible with the people you want to work with. Remember, the most successful people you know are feeling exactly the same way. I know everyone else has got it figured out, haven't they? Nope, they haven't. I know for sure that when someone achieves success in one area, they move on to the next challenge. And of course, this can lead to imposter syndrome cropping up again and outputs of negative thinking all over. So, get a routine going. Find ways to deal with your negative thoughts. Ways that work for you and do them every single day. That could be meditation, journaling, exercise. Time for you and personal development are just a few examples. Do whatever it is that makes you feel good. Gives you space to recognise how flipping amazing you actually are. So I hope you found those tips really helpful, and there are a few in there that you're going to start right now. Now I know a lot of you get scared when I talk about using PR to grow your business and sell more services. And as previously mentioned, this is often down to this old imposter syndrome. However, if PR is something you'd like to embrace, but you need a hand getting started, then I have a 4-day easy challenge plus the masterclass coming up. It's going to be really useful for you. It's called Invisible to In Demand. And not only will I be covering the ins and outs of working with the media, but I'll be tackling the mindset stuff as well. The mindset that keeps you being invisible, particularly when it comes to working with the media. Now it starts on the 14th of November, and that's 2022 if you're watching this in the future. And I will leave a link in the description box to join the challenge. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.